When Scott says he's got some music for you to the new podcast. Brilliant. Fantastic. Yeah.
I've been really digging out the dumpster with this one.
Yeah, I recognise it from... No, I don't.
Nowhere. Do you want me to switch it off?
Well, it's making me... It's like having the guy in the corner, isn't it? You're sat there, you're trying to do service, there's an agency chef in the corner who you know you're paying him twice the wage you're all getting, and he's doing nothing. He's chatting up the waitresses and peeling some spuds. Badly.
He's just not doing anything.
CheckON, one useless agency chef. I've upset the agency chefs. There was a guy that worked at... remember there. And his name was Liam, and he fell out with another Liam. I had to let him go. I said, look, mate, it ain't working out. Which was fine, but he said the most whingy thing about me personally. He right over to tackle me, and he said, there's some prima donna chef who thinks he can sing. I was only ever nice to you.
So he does know you then, the prima donna.
It's every man's prerogative to sing a bit of Frozen if he wants to. But there we
You were
go.
singing Frozen at him?
Yeah, do you remember that video? Somebody recorded the video of us all singing Let It Go from Frozen. Went semi-viral, I would say.
Did he sing?
No, he didn't sing. He was too cool for that.
Oh.
He didn't like the gayness either, to be fair.
Oh, did you touch him? Did you? I've bleeped out the names, so there's no traces here.
No, we you know, the way that kitchens operate best is if everyone's just enjoying themselves. And if you get someone in who's a bit too touchy, then it's a problem. Anyway, CheckON. This evening, we've got, for the amuse-bouche, Greg Wallace and the ongoing debacle. Scott's going to give me a starter, conversation starter. Main course, are we allowed breaks anymore? Not that we ever really had them anyway. Dessert, we got our first email in from our good friend Dave. And the cheese board, festive tunes and a good glug of port to celebrate the time of year. So the amuse-bouche, it's a funny, amusing, entertaining story. It is funny, it is amusing, it is entertaining. But the whole Greg Wallace thing, I mean, we recorded a bit last week when we were playing around. We're setting this podcast up, but it's just got worse, isn't it? He's come out with a thing, he said this, that, and the other, but...
Well, hang on, let me just stop you there.
Yeah.
What did he come up with that is really... well, they're not happy about it. Let's just play that little clip.
All different backgrounds, all walks of life. Now, in the newspaper, I can see the complaints coming from a handful of middle-class women of a certain age.
Absolutely true. that goes without saying. Karens, I believe that they're referred to.
Well, I mean, it comes back to what we were discussing the other day about...
I see the manager.
The entertainment, and it is no longer a cooking program, it's an entertainment program. And I saw someone online says the other day about Nigella Lawson. All these blokes are watching Nigella, and she can say anything about massaging her plums or whatever she wants to. And it's great, and it's wonderful when it's a woman saying it, so it's perfectly acceptable. And all the guys go, oh, Nigella, amazing. I must go and buy some goose fat because Nigella wants it, all the rest of it. And it was fine with Greg Wallace right up until they complained. And now they're doing the classical thing of chuck him on the bus. Well, I can't believe he ever said that or did that. But you've employed him for a purpose. You've employed him to say a bit of innuendo.
They do, don't they? They all seem to come out every time something like this happens. That one of these women just kicks off about it, starts whinging and moaning. All of a sudden, the gates open of hell, and out they come, one clone after another. You know, their second chin just flapping in the air with their rage.
What did it say on that? Disaster chef rather than master chef Greg Wallace. But you're building this guy up to this thing, and he's there saying he's dealt with thousands of contestants, and he's an entertaining, cheeky, chappy, whatever. And it's like, he is what he is, you know. But
it just wouldn't be entertainment if you had someone like, I don't know, David Cameron hosting it, where you're just totally withdrawn of any kind of degree of emotion or, I don't know, conviction of any kind, or jokes, banter, or anything else.
We discussed it last week, didn't we? The Lloyd Grossman, who used to present that programme, there was no entertainment to it in that part. It was very serious. It was about cookery being a very serious art. And yes, it's a very serious thing, but there's the fun side of it. And that's the reason they've got Greg Wallace there. They've got chefs on there who know how to cook.
Yeah.
You got Marcus Waring, he knows how to cook. You got Monica, she knows how to cook. They're there to discuss the food. Yeah. He's there to just be a bit of a fluffer and entertainment, you know. And it changed into what MasterChef is now, which is the same as, like we said the other day, Top Gear, what it used to be versus what Top Gear is now. The part for me is the fact that the Nigella part that I saw online, it wound me up a bit because it was quite true that actually when Nigella was hosting a cookery show and she could say anything that was a little bit innuendo-y and whatever, it was light-hearted fun and nobody got that bothered by it. But he says things, and we've been scouring the internet here trying to find what are the most offensive things he said, and they're just very, to us, to the world, most world, they're very light-hearted things. But then like some people have jumped on it and it's a problem, but it's just so easy to be offended, isn't it?
Oh, I don't see any issue with what he said. I've watched the video. I don't really understand it. I mean, this idea of thrusting your balls in someone's face, I mean, that's probably overreaction if I've ever heard one.
I missed that part. Where did that come into it?
Well, that was one of the stories, apparently, him thrusting his groin at some girl's face. I don't disagree that there could be an element of truth to that. About 5%.
It seems that it's just jumping on the bandwagon, grab your pitchforks and, oh my God, and I say it's that divide.
I want to be noticed.
Yeah.
I'm going to come out of the woodwork and just moan.
Yeah.
And he was right. They're proving him right. It's ridiculous.
Anyway, on with the rest of the check because this table needs feeding the rest of it. So our starter for this evening.
Now the starter for the evening. Now let me get this technology in place a minute.
Get the tech working.
CheckON. Okay, so Rationale have launched an exciting new revolutionary product. Now, I'll be the judge whether it's revolutionary, and you certainly will because you haven't seen it yet. Of this new product, this new massive combi oven that they've got. It's called the iHexagon. They'll probably add a Pro to it for God knows reason. I think it's just
add a couple of grand.
Add a couple of grand. Let's put Pro in front of it.
Yeah.
And I want you to watch this video. This is them introducing it.
It is a perfect combination of convection heat, steam, and microwave.
We came up with a complete new climate management system, which is called iClimate Boost. So our customers can be sure that the iHexagon gives them results they expect from Rationale. Just faster. Up to 30% faster and sometimes even more.
And I have to say, from the first to the last, from the top to the bottom, forward and backwards, they're absolutely nicely grilled.
What?
They're absolutely nicely grilled.
They're absolutely nicely grilled. So they've been blasted to death with microwaves as well at the same time. I really fancy doing that on a chicken breast.
30% quicker though. It's not revolutionary, is it? I mean, 30% quicker.
Chicken in a microwave though. No, I know that they're probably giving it dry heat and steam at the same time, but still, blasting meat with microwaves I've never seen that work.
Well, I suppose it depends how they work it. If their design is that it's convection heat, therefore it's still an oven, it's still roasting it, it's still got partial steam as Rationales do, and it's just adding in a low level of microwave just to stimulate it and cook it a bit quicker. Maybe it works. I don't know.
Yeah, but I know the people I've worked with in the past. I know the types of people we come up, the morons. If you're sticking aluminium foil over trays or something and shoving it in there because they don't care, or there's aluminium trays and all that going in there, and you know what happens when you put microwaves onto that.
Mm. Yeah, it's an odd
Someone's going to bucker up at some point.
Oh, undoubtedly. It makes, I suppose it's like the Merry Chefs, isn't it? We discussed them the other day. You know, that they use them in Subway, etc., etc. You chuck things in and it's a microwave and it's a combi oven, it's all things, and it blasts the hell out of it, and it takes 30 seconds and you get toasted cheese on your BMT. For the commercial kitchen, how it works, what the quality is, I suppose it's an idea.
Let's carry on.
All right, give me some more.
Their efficiency and their productivity.
Takeaway foods, convenience food, that's what we have here. The keyword is there to be fast. So whenever I'm not really sure about the cooking time, I just use the core probe. I can be sure it's always cooked to perfection. As a chef, without a glass door, that's not an option.
iCare System Autodose is standard with the iHexagon. Now, Alex,
we've got that saltimbocca over there that took us 3.5 minutes. 3.5 minutes for these beautifully grilled vegetables. Next to that, I've got a tray of grilled chicken wings. So now these chicken wings, it took us 3.5 minutes in the iHexagon. We had over there our gnocchis with some tomato sauce, some cheese on top, just overcrusted as a side dish, for example. These apple tartlets, they look extremely nice, and I think we have to find some ice cream later for that.
And we want to guarantee and ensure that customers understand the features and the benefit of the product. Therefore, we decided to build special teams, and we'll start a new era of cooking, the era of iHexagon. Thank you very much for being here today.
The music. Who are these people in the audience? Got to be employees. They're employees who've been told to turn up, or you're not getting a bonus in your pay packet.
They're German, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Revolutionary technology. Well, they would know all about that, couldn't they've done all kinds of cooking that no one else has done, haven't they? Oh, my God.
Get a microwave and it'll be quicker.
They look better with the uniform on, though, I've got to admit. Anyway, less on that.
Yeah. If you're doing something and you're doing same dishes day in, day out, and you know how it works, then it makes sense.
But are you really gaining anything by adding a microwave in there? I use the iCombi Pro. It's fine.
They're pretty powerful ovens. And the thing is, if all you're doing is saving 30%, which 30% is decent, but your average cook-to-order dish in a restaurant is going to take 15 minutes in the oven tops. Whatever your protein is, because that's the main thing that's going to take the time. Say that's taking 15 minutes. If you're saving 30% of that, or if you saved maybe you might do it in 10 minutes, but then the rest of the garnish section's still got to catch up to that. So, and the person on the pass who's generally going down isn't going to place it any faster anyway.
That's right.
So
it's going to be sat out longer under the lights.
I suppose a lot of these things are aiming them at the bosses and saying, look, if you buy this, you can save yourself 30% on time, and your staff will be quicker, and your guests will be happier.
Yeah. So that
as with most things,
paper,
there's zero thought given to the team in the kitchen who are actually breaking
how much
the
of that has actually been tested in the kitchen with the chefs, with all the different variables that go along with that as well.
Yeah.
Swearing, shouting, people getting a bit confused and stressed out. Someone hasn't mainsed away. Maybe that 30% comes in quick there. But then you know what it's like. If they haven't mainsed away and you've got one cook there, you're using that. You're using somebody else's table's dish.
I mean, yeah, your classic when you're on a sauce section.
Why are you going to throw me under a bus?
Well, because if you're in this shit, it's at 300 degrees anyway. So that protein's getting cooked down quick. And yes, you could cook it 30% quicker, but you can just whack the heat up 30 degrees and cook it 30% quicker. And the energy efficiency probably isn't much different from having the microwave running at the same time anyway. We'll see if they catch on. I don't think they will, but I could be wrong. I'm never normally wrong, but you know.
Oh, God. Anyway.
Main course. So, Kemi Badenoch.
Oh, Kemi Badenoch.
It's a good feature for a main course because it really affects the industry. Yesterday or the day before, Kemi Badenoch said that lunch breaks are for wimps, and
just to be a bit of a clarification, this is the opposition conservative leader.
The opposition conservative leader was saying that lunch breaks are for wimps, and you don't need to take an hour for your lunch. It's not productive. Like you start work at 9 o'clock in the morning, you work till 1 o'clock, and you go, oh, I've done 4 hours solid. Then you take an hour off, and you go for a stroll in the park, and you have your lunch break and all the rest of it. And what she said really didn't bother me that much because it is what it is. Then she attacked sandwiches and said sandwiches aren't even really food. She enjoys steak. Crack on. No worries. That part didn't really bother me. But then the backlash and people started moaning and people kicking off, and you had people on either end of the spectrum as you do, and they've all got their point. But you got people there going, oh, it's essential. You can't expect us to work, a 9-hour day without having a break. Oh, it's unthinkable to think this, that, and the other. And then came Badenoch saying, well, you can just get your lunch, but eat at your desk. And while you're at your desk, smash your lunch down, get it eaten, job done. It's the classic. And especially this time of year, you always see that thing pop up on Facebook where you see the chef sat on the floor broken. And it's when you're having your lovely festive time of year, think about the chef. But it's true. And it's like the glamour of being a chef, or the glamour, the praise. You take the praise. Oh, you work so hard and all the rest of it. You were just cooking. But the breaks part is that's a real genuine thing. People don't take breaks.
No.
And if you do take a break,
you get slaughtered.
You're in the shit. You haven't got time to do what you need to do.
Not only can you get you're behind now on your prep because everything's on timescale, and you barely got enough time as it is, even though you're working all day.
Yeah.
And then it's a case of it's the walk of shame, because I've seen it with the younger chefs who no, I need to take my break.
Yeah.
And then they'll walk through the kitchen, and honestly, it's just like walking through a zoo of lions, just all eyeing you up as dinner for when you get back.
Well, you have the restaurants where they say, well, it's a straight service from now until now. And the customer couldn't give a monk. You'd have to a chef to a customer, sorry, there's going to be a delay on your food because the chef's having his break. Well, that's not good enough. But you serve food all day. The chef has to take a break, but we can't have a break because we're serving all day.
Yeah.
And then if you do take a break, well, someone's going to come and get you and say, sorry, chef, you got to check on. I can stall them for a minute or two, but that's your break over effectively. You've got to come and cook this check. And it's just an accepted norm. And, the number of people in the industry who probably different a bit now because people don't smoke quite as much as they used to, but back along, people started smoking so they could get breaks. It was a common.
It was the only way to get out, wasn't it?
Yeah, you would take up smoking so that you got a break, and that, like they talk about it being an unhealthy industry and break stuff. I'm a smoker. What? Well, then you can go and have a break. And if you weren't a smoker, you can't go and sit down for 10 minutes.
I know.
Like,
I noticed that.
Well, why not? The smokers are going to sit down.
Yeah.
Well, they're smoking.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
So,
the non-smokers
as a non-smoker,
would still be in the kitchen working.
Yeah.
wouldn't they?
You keep working. Yeah. We've worked places where it's written in your contract that you get paid this much, but that includes a half-hour break or whatever break. It's rubbish. Like, you don't get the time to have your break. Me being a hero here, but kitchens I've run, I try and make sure that people can get out and have a break, but it's so hard because if you do get that point, you think, oh, I'm half an hour ahead. Well, rather than going and having that full half an hour break, I'll have a 10-minute break, and then I'll clean my fridge out, get my prep list done for tomorrow, so I'm not here till midnight tonight.
When we were down the Scala at that time, Ben Tunnicliffe was getting stressed out because management, I remember, were on his back because we were working all the way through, AFDs, working the whole day, and we weren't taking breaks. It was normal for us in there because there was so much to do all the time for that level of food. And then I remember him stressing out that he was adamant he was going to send us for breaks. But then what are you going to do? Because every time we sit in the staff room for 20 minutes, half an hour, it was like, I'm now going to be in the shit.
Yeah.
Because I know I've got this prep list to do and I'm losing half an hour from it. I'm going to have a terrible service because I'm struggling to get ready in time. So there's other ways of looking at it. I suppose, does she mean that? Is it going to be government policy to stop it, or is it just her opinion, the whole thing?
It was just opinion. And it was a divisive opinion because some people were saying, you can't do more than 4 hours without needing to have a break. And certainly at lunchtime, I've never worked any, and I've been a chef 24 years. I've never worked anywhere where chefs have a break at lunchtime. Yeah. Not that you would, and that's not me bitching.
It's because you need to be in there for
the time
the
you have your
service.
thing, but you just don't do it. And if you do sit down and have a break, but you hear it as also people saying, there's a lot of research that suggests if you have a break, it's better for your mental health and you do a better job in the afternoon.
Yeah, but is that across all industries, or did they just target a few office staff?
That's probably, if you sat in an office, it's probably as worthwhile getting up and having a break because
you sat in front of that computer at a desk for hours on end.
Or saying, if you do a 4-day week, you'll be more productive than if you do a 5-day week and all these things. It's like, great. And we'd all fully support that, but then who's actually doing the work? And how does that actually...
The same amount of work still needs doing.
Yeah, and it needs to go out and people need to be fed. People need to have a break, yes, but then how often does it happen in our industry? Hardly at all. I was talking to a friend the other day who, the place he works in, he says his salary for 45 hours a week, as per standard thing. But he said, if he does over 60 hours a week, then he gets paid anything over 60 hours and overtime. But you think, well, okay, so then, but if they're admitting that over 60 hours a week, so between 60 and 85, 90, which is what he's averaging of a week, you're going to get paid your overtime. Well, then what about the 45 to 60 hours?
Yeah.
That 15 hours a week is free.
Yeah, if that's the contracted hours, which is the 45,
yeah,
and you're getting overtime for going quite a bit over that. What about a little bit over that? Why is that not...
Why is that first 15 hours?
Why is the contract not 60 hours? Because, government legislation, and we'll see what we can get away with.
Yeah, it's it just wound up a bit because it was the whole everyone discussing breaks and it being it's a right and it's this and it's this and it's that, And it's a right for us and it's a right for our industry, but it's a right that nobody ever, ever, ever uses. Like, find me a single chef anywhere. In other news, dessert.
Oh, that's my bit.
That's you're supposed to. So dessert is going to be something nice. Someone's going to send us an email. Hopefully, lots of people send us emails. We'll read lots of amusing stories, but we'll sugarcoat everything. So you tell us the dark and what happened and all the terrible things. We'll sugarcoat it and give you our feedback. What have you got today?
Well, the first one, and our only one that has come in from Dave, I quote, "It's a short, a sweet one to start you on your way with your new podcast." Oh, how very kind. "I've been working in a kitchen for a few months, and it's been a steep learning curve. You, i.e. Darren in brackets, were on the pass and incredibly busy. I was on larder, salad bar as Scott would call it, which I do. And a waitress brought back a plate from a customer asking what something was on the plate. No, it was half a slug. Oh, God. It was half a slug. She had eaten the other half. Oh, she asked what it was, as she wasn't sure. And I didn't want to cause a scene, so I told the waitress that it was a wild cornichon." Oh, what? A wild cornichon. "I then told you not to worry, it was nothing important, and as you were very busy. Never heard any more about it, so presumably the customer survived, and we need never talk about this again. Much love, Dave." A slug on a plate. Oh, that is absolutely. I'm assuming it's come from the lettuce.
I mean, slugs on plates do happen. Yeah, I do remember that because Dave did tell me about it after the event because I said, "Oh, what was that thing earlier?" "Well, I didn't want to bother you because you were busy, right? What was it?" I told him it was a wild cornichon. I was like, "What? What is a wild cornichon?" First thing I could think of.
You're not going to tell her it's a slug.
Well, I mean, yeah, honestly, the best
half
quality.
of it.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you do get stuck. But, yeah, I mean, you know, you get these West Chem do a chemical salad wash, don't they? You know, you can wash all your salad and everything in these chemicals, and yeah, it does get rid of things. But it happens. You buy an organic produce from a local grower who's not using lots of pesticides, and it's all good and it's good for the planet. And you wash the salad and you spin the salad and everything else, you still might get a slug. You know.
Well, mother kicks off about that with my stepdad, who grows loads of vegetables in the garden. I mean, he's taken over the back garden completely at mother's house. And she gets a bit iffy about eating the vegetables because sometimes there's slugs in them. And my stepdad can't work out. He says, "But they share the planet with us. They're going to crawl over it. I don't really want to put all kinds of pesticides all in the back garden." And, you know, it's if the ones in the supermarket are any... nothing crawls over them.
It's been covered in chemicals and chemical washes and
Yeah.
a bit of irradiation. And I remember when Brexit was first a thing, and they were talking about we were going to do trade deals with the US, and the amount of arse there was about chlorinated chicken. They're like, "Oh my God, they wash their chickens with chlorine." It's like, we wash our strawberries with chlorine. You don't care about that. I mean, you're eating those raw. I suppose that's just mass media, isn't it? Like the whole, they wash their chickens with chlorine, and you think chlorine gas, the swimming pool. Horrific, you know, but well, yes, there's some chlorine in it, but it's not. Yeah. If you're going to buy mass-produced rubbish, that's what you're going to get. You're not going to get high quality, and that's. Don't even get me started on that. That'll probably be a main course for another episode. But in my perfect world, when I run the country, you know, make meat more expensive because it actually costs more money than we pay for it. You know, give the farmers a decent wage for doing it, pay the actual decent price. And like it should be a luxury item. It shouldn't be that you can just eat meat every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Some people eat, and it's there's always meatheads. I remember when we worked at a place, and the resort director said all the staff foods were vegetarian. Great, no worries, we can do lovely vegetarian food. And one of the guys who worked in the restaurant, who coincidentally his name was Guy, kicked off. He goes, "Well, I work long shifts. I can't function on vegetarian food. I need to eat meat." You can, mate. It's not the end of the world. If you want to bring some meat in with you, bring a pack of ham. No one's going to care. But we should eat more veg and more stuff. And like, you know, people take the piss. I take the piss. If you come to me and say, I'm a flexitarian, because what that basically means is you just eat with a conscience. You don't need to give yourself a title, but obviously you feel that you have to, so you can tell people about your plate beliefs. But you're a flexitarian, great. You only eat meat once or twice a week, or if it's going to go to waste, you'll eat the meat, but you're only eating high quality meat. Brilliant. That's what you should be doing. And we're only eating fish that's actually caught here. It's not farmed somewhere and it's actually sustainable and everything. Great. That's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
But the reality is that the society we live in, everybody eats meat and fish and stuff and
Everything
all the processed
available,
stuff.
everything on demand.
Exactly.
And everything cheap.
Yeah. And it's, you know, our parents are a similar age. Go back to that sort of back in the 50s and stuff after the war and things, meat wasn't as readily available as it is now, and it certainly wasn't as well eaten as it is now. And like, you know, my mum, she'd say she didn't really like meat as a kid because the only meat they could afford was the really nasty cheap cuts.
Yeah.
They didn't really understand how to cook them all that well because Delia hadn't told them yet. You know, and so therefore it was, we'll just eat potatoes and vegetables. But then you'd have meat as a treat, but it wouldn't be that much of a treat because it'd be tough as old boots.
It's tough, yeah.
But yeah, it's a shame because we'll probably never get back to that. But that, if only everyone did that, you wouldn't need all the chlorinated crap. You wouldn't need all the rubbish. You'd have all the small scale farmers actually being able to make decent money out of their.
And all the diseases that are associated with battery farming, especially with chickens, they're all crammed into death. And all the diseases that spread throughout that. Whereas, you know, if it was more expensive, but done, you know, as a small farmers do them, they got the full land to graze on. It is the quality is so much better.
There's a thing. I mean, we're going a bit off topic here because this isn't a wild Cornichon, but you can chop it for another episode or whatever. But I was reading a story only the other day actually, which was about a new chemical that some big ass corporation has designed, which they're going to feed to cows, and it's going to reduce their methane output by 30% or 40% or something. So, brilliant. It's going to revolutionise farming because one of the major things they always bang on about, methane production from cows, they produce too much methane gas, global warming, terrible. It's like, well, the amount of gas per cow isn't really the problem. The amount of cows on the planet is the problem, or the amount of cows on the planet that are being intensively farmed to keep the meat market running. Yeah. That's really where your problem is. And pumping more chemicals into the cow, you're just fucking with this ecosystem again and going, well, okay, you're going to produce whatever, I think it was about 30-40% less methane. Well, what's that doing to the poor animal? And how unnatural is that? And what side effects are going to become of that? And it's just, well, we'll part that for another day. But
yeah, I think that's
as for the wild Cornish,
I've done a little bit of research into that.
Yeah. I appreciate the gesture of hiding me from that situation.
I'm trying to think who that Dave actually is.
I know exactly who that Dave is. I won't mention that now. But it's nice to be guarded from these things. But equally, honesty is the best policy. And you could have just said, "It's just a slug, mate. You've bitten off a slug." The ironic thing is that being something that's actually perfectly, you know, it's probably a dead slug. It's been washed in a salt wash, etc. Even if it isn't, you're probably going to digest it fine. But if you actually tell them it's a slug, then they're probably going to throw it up and, you know. Yeah.
Ignorance is bliss.
Anyway, wild Cornichons. So, yeah, I mean, any more stories like that or anything else? Anything?
I'm going to wait for our email influx so far.
Yeah, send us some emails because we get lonely.
Don't forget, letters, what was it?
Great. He's done it well, hasn't he?
Letters for, I should have said at, shouldn't I? But then that would have been all right. Letters for CheckOn@hotmail.com. That's not even that memorable, is it? I had to come up with something.
So it's letters for CheckOn@hotmail.com.
Yeah. And that's all words. It's not the number 4.
We're not that uncle. Come on. What you need to do is make up a little jingle.
All right.
I'm thinking sort of, you know, think back to Pirate FM back in the days. Europlast windows sparkle and shine, amazing glazing every time. Something like that? No? If you can get us a jingle. Letters for CheckOn.
Letters for CheckOn.
Letters for CheckON at hotmail.com.
Yeah, letters for CheckON at hotmail.com. Oh, that's a bit crap, isn't it? We've got a voice changer. How's that?
Voice changer?
Work a little bit better.
If I just turn it up a little bit. Letters for CheckON. What's the fucking gap?
Letters for CheckON.
CheckON at hotmail.com. That's that ADHD. Well, let's turn that off.
Sounds like Greg
There we
Wallace.
go, that's better.
So, letters for CheckON at hotmail.com.
Letters for CheckON at hotmail.com. See, no gaps anymore.
And then we'll get the mobile set up. So then there'll be a number that people can text in or send in little voice notes. So the number is 07871.
Oh, hang on.
What do you mean, hang on?
Well, let me give you... You need some music.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I don't know the mic on this. Hello. That's 07871 778 168.
I repeat.
07871 778 168.
Oh. Hey, the music stopped at the perfect time.
Good timing, that. Yeah.
If we can call that music.
So we've got that. Some people can send voice notes to that. We can WhatsApp on that as well. Yeah, so, I mean, if you want to send in a letter or anything, really, I mean, it's going to show their email address anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But we won't give away any identities of places, people, or anything.
I'm just going to copy and paste your story out of the email and you'll get deleted.
Yeah.
I just want the story.
Do you remember Reese? I don't know if you worked with Reese. He was...
I thought we're not supposed to be mentioning names.
We're not, but you'll bleep
What
him
if he
out.
listens?
You'll bleep him out.
All right.
He was a comedy chef who worked for us at a hotel that you can bleep out at a later date. And he was a lovely kid. He really was. But he was utterly useless.
Is that the Simpleton one?
He was a bit simple. But he had two particular things that stuck in my mind. I should probably save them for another episode, but now I'm on the roll. I kind of feel I need to tell you. One of them was he was stood outside the office door, and I was watching him through the office because I was sitting there on a work avoidance scheme. And he went to pick up a stack of plates. He realised he couldn't lift the stack of plates because it was too heavy. It had 20 plates on it. So then instead of picking up the 20 plates, he picked up one plate off the stack of 20. Then he picked up 2, 3, 4. He got about halfway through the stack. So he's now holding 10 plates and there's 10 plates left in the stack. So now he's lent the stack on the side of the racking. He's then carried on putting it until he's moved the entire 20 plates off the stack onto the new stack that he's created. So he's basically inverted the stack on top of itself. He's put the last plate on and then he just picks up the stack as if it doesn't weigh anything and walks off. And I ran out and chased him. I was like, can I just stop you there? He's like, yeah, what? I was like, what have you just done? I was like, you've just, never mind. And then the next time he was, we used to do the kids club sandwiches. They had ham, jam and cheese, half on white, half on brown. And on this particular day, I said, all right, there's 30 kids in the kids club. There's 20 kids in that room, 10 kids in that room. It's not exact science, but make sure that roughly, make up 30 kids worth of sandwiches. So you need 10 ham, 10 jam, 10 cheese, 5 white, 5 brown, 5 white, 5 brown, 5 white, 5 brown, cut into quarters. All these bits of sandwich. Lovely. Stick them all on there. And I said, just put 20 portions on one tray, 10 portions on another tray. Again, doesn't need to be exact, just a rough thing. He came and got me. He said, look, I don't know how this happened, but I've got all the wrong numbers. So I went out and it had all gone a bit wrong. So I said, all right, take all the sandwiches off. Showed him how to do it. Came in a second time. No, it's still gone wrong. Right. I came out the second time. I said, look, right, get all the sandwiches, put them all on the chopping board here. I said, then get the white ham sandwiches, put 1, 2 on that tray, and then 1 on the next tray. 1, 2 on that tray, 1 on the next tray. And just do that through all the sandwiches till they're all done. Right. You got it? Yeah, I got it. It doesn't need to be exact, but roughly that. It's fine. And he came in the third time and he said, Chef, you're really going to hate me. I said, what's wrong? He goes, I don't know how it's happened. I really don't. I'm going to have to show you. So I go back out.
So he knew he'd done it wrong.
He knew he'd done it wrong. But
he was completely confused.
Yeah, he didn't know how he'd done it wrong.
His sandwiches on a tray.
Yeah, but, give him a chance. Right. So I go out. I said, right, what have you done? He said, look, you're probably going to shout at me, but I don't know how it's happened. There's no jam sandwiches on that tray. They're all on this tray. And I was thinking, just why have you come to get me to tell me there's no jam sandwiches there? just put some jam sandwich. But he was a lovely guy, innocent. But funny enough, a guy who was assistant restaurant manager at that place at that time, who then went on to run his own restaurants, Bright Ups and the Guardians, all the rest of it. He's worked for me since as a sous chef. He did some agency work a year or two ago, and he rang me up. He goes, "You will not believe who I've just worked for." He said, "I've just done the agency shift at a place." He said, "And the front of house manager, guess who it is?" I don't know. He goes, "It's only Jam Sandwich Guy. He's the F&B manager or front of house manager at a hotel." I was like, "I'm so happy." I mean, I don't know how good or bad the hotel is, but
We should get him on here, tell him about the sandwich story.
he might like that. Do you know, he worked for us through the summertime, and he'd done a year at college, and it was, "Mate, your college is useless. It's done nothing for you." And I said, "You're a nice guy. You're likable. Everyone on the team has enjoyed working with you. Happy to help out, whatever. But you're shit in the nicest possible ways." So I said, "Look, tell you what, you go back to go back to college in September, work your ass off. And so if you can work from September through until Easter," I said, "then next Easter holidays, you come here and you can spend 2 weeks in the kitchen with us in the staff accommodation for 2 weeks. And if you come back next Easter and prove to me that you've push hard at college, learn all you can, and you come back with a different attitude, still a nice guy, but just show me you've got a bit of something about you, then if you prove to me in those 2 weeks, I will give you a full-time position, decent wage, accommodation sorted, the whole thing. I'll sign it all off. Yeah. You've got from now till Easter, you've got September till April to apply yourself. Yeah. And if you can do that, I will, because you're a really nice guy, if you can prove you've got the work ethic and stuff and you can crack on, do it, I'll give you a full-time job.
Nice guy thing is 2/3 of it, really.
Well, it is.
The last bit is just the
attitude. I
just can't deal with a bad, shite attitude.
No. I just get that, do it, come back, and the job's yours. And he came back and he did his 2 weeks. And I said, "Mate, I just don't think this is the right job for you." And
bad, was it?
Yeah. And he comes back to what I said earlier about the whole pushing people into hospitality in schools and go, "No, you're not very good. You're not this, you're not that. Why don't you go to hospitality?" But he's now, maybe just the kitchen wasn't the right place for him because he is now front of house manager.
Maybe it was that knockback he gave him.
Yeah. My dad got called into my first ever job because he got me the job when I was 15, 16, whatever I was. And it was just won the best restaurant in Cornwall at the Cornwall Tourism Awards.
Very nice.
Tregain Restaurant. Sorry, that's not there anymore, so you can use that name.
How's it gone?
Yeah. It's just another house now. But,
best restaurant, just not the longest lasting.
Yeah. But I worked there and it was like, I wanted to be a chef, so I wanted to do stuff in the kitchen, but they said, "Well, you'll have to wait tables, do a bit, you can help out with starters, you can help out with desserts, but you have to wait tables." So I was like, "Yeah, fine, okay, whatever." And I hadn't been there very long until they got my dad in and just said, "Look, nice kid, but he's useless."
Yeah.
And, I used to think about that now. Whenever I'm employing someone now, if I employ someone who's 16 years old, you're going to be shy. You're going to be a bit shit. You're going to be, but like, as long as you've got the attitude, that's all you really need, because you'll learn how to do things fast. You'll learn how to do everything you need to do in the industry. You just got to have the right attitude to apply to it. But back then I was useless and I was like slow, nervous, didn't know what to do. And it is hard, but as I said a few years ago, at some point in life, I was going to write a book, whether I ever will, who knows, but I was going to write a book and it was going to be called Inspirational Chefs and How to Become One. And the whole premise of that was going to be that the most influential person, to my mind, in a kitchen is the youngster who's just come into the kitchen, because you don't know anything, and that's fine. Everyone expects you to know nothing. But if you start asking the people above you, "How do you do this? How do you do that?" All of a sudden they're on their toes going, "Oh, this kid's asked me questions I don't actually know the answer to." So they start pushing harder. And if you're pushing and asking questions and doing the right things, it changes the mood of the whole kitchen team, because if the guy at the bottom's got the right attitude and is pushing, then all of a sudden all the lazy ones become found out. They start getting knocked out of the way when the young one gets promoted, and it changes the whole dynamic of the kitchen, because you've got
it does happen, yeah.
That young enthusiasm that comes in, that people want to push on, they want to do stuff. And I've worked with a few people in my career that I think they've gone on to be better chefs than me. They're more talented in that side of it. And they've just pushed and pushed, but it's like you come in with the right attitude. We were looking for a chef where I was working in Wales, put a job advert out, had quite a few chefs apply for it. And the bar manager, whatever he was, he came and he goes, "Oh, you're looking for a chef?" "Yeah, my brother wants to be a chef." "Okay. Ever worked as a chef before?" "No." Likes cooking though. It's into food. Okay. So let's get him in. Give him a trial shift, and we got in 4 different chefs, and a few of them had years of experience. They'd worked in many places around the local area. They knew everything they needed to know. Food wise, not a problem. But their attitudes were just a bit like, yeah, I've done this, I've done that. Not that bothered. Cole came in. He said, look, I don't know anything. I'll be honest with you. I haven't got a clue. But I know about food. I've never worked in a commercial kitchen. Okay, fine. I'll show you some things. So I show him some things, but then service has kicked off. It's a bit busy. Can you do the bit I've shown you? But other than that, just sort of hang fire. He did that. And then in between not knowing what he was doing, he'd do a bit of cleaning, or he'd go and ask the KPs if he could help them.
Busy.
He did stuff.
Didn't stand there in Gorm.
No, he noticed, I was on the sauce section and I'd run out of diced onions. He's already seen where the diced onions are in the fridge because he helped me do some earlier. He's got me another tub of diced onions out, and it's like, oh, he's topped up with
it. That's a rarity, that, isn't it?
Yeah, and I said, I was head chef, but it was my first head chef job. I was 25 at the time. My first proper head chef job, let's say. And I said to the owner of the restaurant, I said, I want to employ that guy. Well, he ain't got any experience. Why don't you employ this one? These two are our favourites. I was like, no, this guy's the best one. Trust me, he's going to be the guy you want to employ. Back and forth. I said, look, your choice. You're going to have to work with him. I said, yeah, I'll train him. No problem. Work with him. Good as gold. Couldn't fault him. And then a year or two, whenever I left later, I was leaving to move away. And they offered him the sous chef job. And I said, look how far that guy's come. You said, don't employ him. He doesn't know anything. Now you're offering him a sous chef job.
What did they say to that? You were right, I suppose.
Yeah, they said, well,
what can you say?
You've nurtured him. It's your choice. It's gone well, but it might not have done. Fair play. But he moved. He came work for us in Cornwall when I worked down here, and he now works. And like the food he puts out now, you see it on his social media and stuff. But it's super high end. He works.
Yeah, he does.
A private chef in Switzerland, but his food is incredible. And like he's out foraging, getting stuff. Like his understanding of food, ingredients, everything. It's like incredible.
And paid a fortune. Good on him.
Yeah, good man. Get it when you can. But it's that thing that the attitude is what shines through, and the attitude is like, yeah, I'll do that. Well, I mean, Cole before that, he was a binman, and it was like,
was he a binman? Was he?
You want to employ a binman? I was like, yeah, that was his job. Yeah, it just shows his attitude, isn't it? You come with the right attitude.
Mind you, they do work. Thinking about it, when they're out there, I mean, they move.
Yeah,
they don't hang around.
You're not always sat on your phone, are you?
No, they're honestly on it. I suppose you get really fit doing that. Yeah. I noticed she's down there hoovering. We've told her.
Is she hoovering?
You didn't even hear it.
I've got the expensive headphones. These are my grandfather's, God rest his soul.
They don't look like they're from the 1930s. They look like they're from the 2009s.
That would have been the last time he could hear us, mate.
Freemason. Was he high up in it?
Yeah. Top boy.
Is that all the dodgy handshakes?
Yeah.
I love the way you just sort of like, what's wrong? Can I ask questions like that or something?
Well, you carry on. I don't know much about it.
You never asked him?
No, you didn't ever talk about it.
You don't talk about it. First rule about Freemasonry, you don't talk about it.
Well, I think it's different now, isn't it? Back then it was very much you had to be invited and you had to do this, and it was all very secretive, whereas now it's kind of a...
Well, you've seen them online of Masons doing it.
You see them online. You just stumble across it.
No, I looked it up. I was
I watched a video on YouTube and I get an advert from Nisbets. Supplying the catering trade since 1985. You get, there's the Freemason handshakes.
Check on. You're leaving your restaurant now.
To feed the Freemasons.
To feed the Freemasons.
And, do events.
Oh, it'd be a better life.
You miss it though, don't you? When you're not in there.
Yeah.
Do you? I mean, you've been out of it for a little while now.
Yeah. I do. I like these events.
Events are good because everyone's always happy at an event.
Step in and do the event and just go
home. So, we want people to send us emails.
No. Hang on. We've got a theme here.
Hold on. We've got a theme here.
Okay.
Let's see if Scott can remember the email address.
Send us emails at... No, not at. Send us... Check... Fuck it. Oh, yeah. Letters for CheckON at hotmail.com. Letters for CheckON.
You were saying to me that when we do this podcast, you need a person who's the main confident talker and the person who just fills with crap. I think he's proven his worth.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, that was exactly what you wanted me to be.
So what we need is send your letters.
Yeah. Send your
Oh,
letter.
the music stopped. I mean, you were supposed to be the music guy. Let's try it again.
Yeah.
I quite like that.
Yeah.
So emails to lettersforcheckon@hotmail.com.
Yeah. Send us your letters, your stories, all of it. Anyway, stop waffling and then let's finalise this.
So send your emails in to lettersforcheckon@hotmail.com. And that's it. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Take care.